Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia Pilot. Into the universe of Chinese, we are going to continue our special edition in August, which is 3-character Chinese expressions. And I explained a little bit compared with 4-character Chinese expressions, which are time-honored, highbrow. Somebody created this 3-character Chinese phrases, more recent, not that classy. Sometimes it's more grassroots, nobody created, but they are so lively expressions of our day-to-day life. So I've been enjoying doing this. I hope you enjoy it too. Okay, so today we have this 破天荒. Okay, 破天荒, we use that a lot in our everyday language use. So we are saying somebody's unusual behavior. For example, one dramatic situation maybe like your boss is so stingy, doesn't really appreciate or recognize you or reward you, but something sometime happen that he or she 破天荒 give you a bonus. It's like unexpected, so jaw-dropping or surprising. So that's what 破天荒 is used in everyday life. It's not exactly related to sky. It's still about human survival. Okay, but Chinese language like to use this exaggeration as if your personal life is somehow as impactful as connected to the universe, that we have to use the sky limit here to express your personal dilemma or drama in your life. Okay, let's unpack one by one. 破. We have the stone on the left, and on the right is skin. So stone, skin. What does that mean? It means the stone is breaking down as if shedding its skin. I don't exactly know how stones are breaking, but like over time, something can happen to it or some sort of impact to it, right? That stone, as firm as it is, can can crumble or breaking or shelling. We don't exactly know, but Chinese is using skin not just as the surface of the stone, but as if the stone peel off of kind of shedding skin behavior. Okay, so the stone made of this high ground. Okay, Chinese have top left corner. If it frames on the top left, over here, like this, it means high ground. Somewhere out there in the nature that visually distinctive that you can see as rising up above the ground, that's high ground. Versus we have a low ground, that means you have to look down. It's kind of low on the ground. This is high ground, low ground. And then we have this shape to mean some object in nature that's out there on high ground. And what normally we see on the high ground, stone. Okay, so there is a little bit of, it's not depicting stone of itself, it's depicting the environment, the most likely places where you can find stone. It's out there in nature on high ground, you can find stones. Okay, and the right is skin. Okay, it has the 3-finger hand symbol, and then it has a dead body. Okay, I guess in ancient times, it's hunter-gatherer society time. When the hunters bring back animal, it's dead body of the animal, right? And this is the skinning process of that animal. So this dead body is represented by the skull or the head portion of the animal, and the body is lifeless, kind of laying flat on the ground. So this long stroke of lines depicting the whole body frame, the limbs and the torso portion, everything else. But the head is where it's raised up above the ground. That's depiction of the dead body. Now, the 3-finger hand symbol obviously is doing something to the dead body of the animal. And here, the little bit of that, it's the skin taken off from the animal. So I guess the It's an ancient time food processing, right? It's protein meat we get. And to get to that meat, it has to be first skinned so it can get to the meat layer, right? So the skinning not only used as a fur or leather, as part of incorporated into, the use for tribes for warm keeping. It's also a food processing to get to the meat. So I guess ancient time to skin the hunt, the catch is a common practice. Therefore, it was incorporated into the language, the skinning process, to mean actually the skin, because later on, probably skinning was not that often practiced as a culture. So we don't see that anymore, but the skinning process was captured in the concept of skin eventually. Okay, so the skinning of the stone was used to make the concept a break. So if you can skin the stone, that means you're breaking down the stone. So I guess that's the logical explanation. So 破 means something is breaking. It's no longer one unit. It's breaking. It's not. So imagining this skinning process. Okay, 天 we have top limit of the frame. If it's one horizontal line on the top frame, it means the sky already. And then to make it clear, we put a human figure over there. And this arch thing, I call it as a spacer to give you a sense of a big space, that to make it clear that this is sky, nothing else. It's placed above human, because I guess as a cultural existence, right? Humans measure our environment with human scale. So I have to say, if something is way above us, and that means the sky, we put us, the human figure, below the sky, this top limit. Then you can see, okay, it got to be something above us, because a lot of day-to-day activities happen like on our human level, right? On our like vision level or lower ground. But if we make a point that it's something above us, then that's the sky. Okay. 荒, I translate as a limit, but it does come more complicated than the limit. It actually means the limit of human impact, because it means wilderness originally. You can see this trident looking thing, that's grass growing. It's plant. So plant growing, and this 3 kind of aerodynamic, almost like reversed S shape or sine wave, vertical sine wave. 3 of them means water. And then we have, here we go, the lower ground. Remember the high ground? This is the lower ground. And then we have this human figure above the lower ground. And that's a symbol for death. Okay. The death is made of this implied combination of human figure right above the lower ground. Because how it's signified as death, it means that human body is no longer operating above the ground, it's underground. So dead body buried underground, right? Then you would say, okay, this is lower ground, but this human is still above the ground, right? It's not placed beneath the ground. That's a more logical placement, I agree. But this symbol originally created to mean this person going lower ground is trying to hide underground. So this person is getting close to lower ground, so that kind of lower yourself as a target, I guess, as a predator. I mean, humans in the nature is a prey as well, right? Trying to hide from predator, and then that person or enemy, right? Another tribe. So that person is trying to going underground or lower ground. So this hiding activity Once it becomes permanent, that person no longer comes out. That's human trying to hiding, seeking lower ground. Then once it's permanent, then that means that person is dead. It's permanently going underground, and that's death. Okay, so we have plant, death, water. Wait, did I explain the water sign there? Okay, we have water sign that's in 5 strokes, and the side strokes got kind of broken up because that's how water in nature flows. The middle is unobstructed, but the sides are close to the bank of the river, and it's going to be have logs or stones to cut the continuation of flow of water. But you can see here, it doesn't have that breakage. It's water continuously. So that actually means kind of flooding. It's like huge water, unobstructed, huge water. So this 3 characters depicting it's kind of after the big flooding, things are dead. I guess dead in a sense from human perspective. It may be a farm field after flooding. The plants, the crops are dead. Instead, wild plants are growing. And that gives you the sense of that's the limit of human activity, because flood wipe everything out that we created. It's no longer being used as farmland. It's already returned to nature because it's flooded. What we did here wiped out, dead. And then instead, this natural wild plants are growing. So that's the kind of limit, like a limit of human activity. Now we're limiting that with sky. That means sky in Chinese concept simply means the world or the universe. So how the universe operates, there is a boundary to that. So there is almost like what's considered normal, like what's considered as the usual how the world operates. But you break through that. That means it's, I call it a record breaking. So for example, the temperature, right? 2023, we have record breaking high temperature in summertime. And that's because we have this historical records already keep on our record keeping that range of temperatures, right? And once it breaks the limit of what we saw before, our previous experience, then that's the break. That's the record breaking we're talking about. So 破天荒 in Chinese expression is it's kind of like record breaking. But a lot of times instead of apply to how the world operates, it could be used on how a nation, country, company, your boss, or it could be your individual record breaking. So you 破天荒 do something. For example, you're very stingy, but maybe one time special occasion you 破天荒 spend a lot of money going out to a luxury restaurant or something like that. So it's like it's not your typical behavior. Then that would be also considered your 破天荒, like a splurge, something like that, right? So I'm using this as I search for 破天荒, how culturally the current Chinese language use of that. I pull up this singer-songwriter, I guess in the early 2000, and she came up with the album called 破天荒. I think that's a great album name because it implies it's record breaking. You're kind of shattering ground, and I think her genre is kind of like a rock. So as a rebellion, as a breaking the norm, as an individual, like a breaking of your individual limit as well. So I think that's a good album title. So there we go. 破天荒 cash into the currency of thinking about one more day with Sophie. See you another day.